When driving slower than the rest of the traffic, in which lane should you be driving? A. Right. B. Left. C. Center. D. Any lane. When driving slower than the rest of the traffic, in which lane should you be driving? A. The right lane. On a multi-lane highway, it is important for drivers to choose the appropriate lane depending on how they're driving or what types of maneuver they wish to make. If you are driving slower than other traffic on the road, you should be driving in the rightmost lane. When slow traffic keeps to the right, it helps maintain a safe, normal flow of traffic. A curb painted blue means parking is A. Reserved for short-term parking. B. Reserved for vehicles displaying a handicap plate or placard. C. Prohibited. D. Reserved for loading and unloading passengers. A curb painted blue means parking is B. Reserved for vehicles displaying a handicap plate or placard. The color painted on a curb or parking space indicates what type of parking or stopping is permitted. A blue painted curb or parking space indicates that parking is reserved for disabled persons that display a proper handicap placard on their vehicle. If you park in a space that is dedicated for handicap parking, you may receive a ticket or have your vehicle towed. What are the consequences if you fail to stop for a school bus with flashing red lights? A. There are no consequences. B. A warning from a police officer. C. Expensive fines and a suspended driver's license. D. A minor traffic ticket. What are the consequences if you fail to stop for a school bus with flashing red lights? C. Expensive fines and a suspended driver's license. Failing to stop for a school bus when it has its red lights flashing or stop sign extended is a serious traffic offense. At a minimum, you'll face an expensive fine. Additionally, your license can be suspended. When a school bus is pulled over on the side of the road with its lights flashing and the stop arm extended, it means that it is picking up or dropping off school children. If you were thrown from your vehicle during a collision, you are how many times more likely to die? A. 5. B. 10. C. 15. D. 25. If you are thrown from your vehicle during a collision, you are D. 25 times more likely to die. The fact is simple: a seatbelt can save your life in the event of a car accident. When worn properly, a seatbelt will help prevent you from being thrown or ejected from your vehicle during a collision. Drivers and passengers who are thrown from a vehicle during a crash are up to 25 times more likely to die than those who were wearing seatbelts and remained with the car. You are driving on a two-lane highway and are passing a large truck. What is required to pass safely? A. A double solid yellow line dividing the roadway. B. A large enough gap in oncoming traffic. C. A blind curve ahead. D. Driving over the speed limit in order to pass. You are driving on a two-lane highway and are passing a large truck. What is required to pass safely? B. A large enough gap in oncoming traffic. If you are passing another vehicle on a two-lane highway with traffic moving in both directions, you will need a large enough gap and view of oncoming traffic in order to pass safely. Since trucks are larger than other vehicles, you'll typically need a slightly larger gap in oncoming traffic in order to make it past the truck completely and to be able to return to your lane safely. What is the difference between traffic lights with red arrows and those with solid red lights? A. You cannot turn against a red arrow. B. You cannot turn against a red light. C. Red arrows are only for left turns. D. You can turn against a red arrow. What is the difference between traffic lights with red arrows and those with solid red lights? A. You cannot turn against a red arrow. Both solid red lights and red arrows on a traffic signal means the same thing: come to a complete stop. However, there is a difference in what you are able to do after stopping. For a traffic light with a red arrow, you must come to a complete stop and remain stopped until the traffic signal changes to green. With a red light, you may be able to make a turn after coming to a complete stop and yielding to other traffic, bicycles, and pedestrians in the intersection. To avoid last-minute moves, you should A. Always drive under the speed limit. B. Check your rearview mirror. C. Scan 10 to 15 seconds ahead of your vehicle. D. Always drive in the right lane. To avoid last-minute moves, you should C. Scan 10 to 15 seconds ahead of your vehicle. To avoid last-minute moves, you'll need to be actively scanning the road ahead for potential hazards you may be approaching. A distance of about 10 to 15 seconds will give you enough time and space to choose the safest option for avoiding any potential hazards you may see. It is also important to keep an eye on traffic behind and to the sides of you by checking your rear view and side view mirrors. What does a flashing red light mean? A. The same thing as a yield sign. B. The same thing as a solid red light. C. The same thing as a stop sign. D. The same thing as a yellow light. What does a flashing red light mean? C. The same thing as a stop sign. Come to a complete stop at the limit line and proceed when safe after yielding to pedestrians, bicycles, and other vehicles in the intersection. At a four-way intersection with a flashing red light, the same right-of-way rules apply as if the intersection was controlled by stop signs. Vehicle stopping distances never depend on A. The condition of your brakes and tires. B. Your driving speed. C. Other cars on the road. D. The condition of the road surface. Vehicle stopping distances never depend on C. Other cars on the road. The total stopping distance depends on the time it takes to identify and react to a reason to stop, the condition of the vehicle's brakes and tires, how fast you are driving, the size and weight of the vehicle, the visibility and weather conditions, the condition of the road surface. To make a right turn at the corner. A. Merge into the bike lane for no more than 200 feet. B. Merge into the bike lane at any time. C. Use your turn signal to make bicyclists yield to you. D. You can make the turn from any lane. To make a right turn at the corner. A. Merge into the bike lane for no more than 200 feet. When making a right turn at an upcoming intersection, you'll often first need to merge into the bike lane. Before you do so, use your turn signal to communicate your intentions. Check your mirrors and your blind spots for any bicyclists. When the way is clear, you can merge over the bike lane. Remember, you are not allowed to drive in the bike lane for more than 200 feet before making your turn. Great job! Here are some of your next steps to getting your learner's permit or driver's license. Read and study the official driver handbook from your state DMV. Take more free practice tests at puedomanejar.com. Gather all your necessary forms and documents before you visit the DMV office. Before you know it, you'll be driving in your very own car all by yourself. puedomanejar.com. Free DMV practice tests and much more to help you pass your real exams. Visit us today.